The accuracy, incredible. The feel, natural. The build quality, remarkable. The attention to detail, impressive. The cost, fair. Virtual Fly's Yoko Plus, Roto Plus, TQ6 Plus, and Verneo has changed my simming permanently, and I think it's important I tell you how. This video is brought to you in part by Virtual Fly. Huge thanks to those guys for sending all these products to make this video possible. I remember the first day I received these products. I was anxious to get off of work and try them out. I remember putting it all on my desk and loading up for the first time in the simulator. No indication lights telling me these products are powered, only the sound Windows gives you when you plug in a USB. I remember sitting on the ramp before even starting the engine wondering what switches I'm going to use for flaps and landing gear or anything else. I remember thinking before I even started actually using these products, I miss my extra switches. But then something happened, something I wasn't even expecting. I started the engine and easily rolled that throttle forward and taxied. Feet on the Roto Plus pedals, I made my first turn, tracking the center line exactly how I did in real life. I noticed I didn't have to fight the rudder pedals by constantly varying the input, like my last set of rudder pedals, and the input I was using genuinely felt natural, like physically natural. I remember pressing the brakes and stopping smoother than I ever have at the hold short line. I remember doing the run-up and immediately noticed the feel and accuracy in these throttles. Setting the power with either throttle unit feels natural, just like taxiing with the Roto Plus pedals feels natural. It was from that moment I started taxiing for the first time on that I forgot about my extra switches. In fact, it was in that moment I realized the things that I thought were important to me in my last controls, like extra switches, weren't so important to me anymore. You start to roll down the runway, take off power set using your Virtual Fly throttle quadrant, tracking center line with your Roto Plus pedals, and realize the inputs I'm making aren't very big. As a matter of fact, all I'm doing is changing pressures on the controls, like physical pressures. I'm not watching my in-sim yoke movement as another gauge of my inputs anymore. I'm using my own feel. I'm not white-knuckling anything, I'm relaxing. In fact, by the time I lifted the nose on my first takeoff, I realized even with all the extra switches, my old controls limited me. With the high-resolution Hall sensors in these Virtual Fly products, that solved one limitation from my last controls, and that was the ability to use fine, minute movements that actually register in the simulator. The ability to hold a bank or pitch became easier literally immediately. The ability to make these pitch and roll changes smoother and less abrupt looking was also immediately noticed. The ability to intercept a desired cruise speed with the throttle, because they too are just as accurate with Virtual Fly's Hall sensors, was immediately noticed. The ability to rely on them to control descent rate on an approach accurately, or to get as much torque as humanly possible out of your turboprop engines without having to compromise on a percent or so, was not only possible, but repeatable across multiple sims. What this tells me is the ability to fly smoother and with higher accuracy had one of, if not the biggest, impact on me when it came to flight simming. What this should tell you is having a high quality input like what's offered with these Virtual Fly products over extra switches can, and most likely will, absolutely have a higher impact on you as the flight simmer. As you fly around, you notice things are not only highly accurate and smooth, but these products are talking back. They have things to tell you just like the instruments on the panel, and just as important as the information you read from your instruments is the feedback you get from these controls. The most impactful form of this feedback lives in the Yoko Plus. As you move from center, things stiffen. It stiffens to the point 2 hands is almost required to get the full range of travel, actually. This progressively getting stiffer the further from center you get gives you the sense of magnitude in your inputs. It's now easier to gauge where too much input is because I can feel it, and I no longer need the visual cue I once sought to achieve this. Because of the feedback I got from these controls, coupled with the accuracy I mentioned earlier, I noticed an immediate improvement in my consistency from takeoff to landing. When doing things like going from climb to cruise or making a heading change, you notice you aren't overshooting as much. You notice the roll in and roll outs to banking happening gracefully and not chaotically. You begin to notice landings improving, takeoffs improving, all because rather than looking for the visual cue I once did, I'm instead relying on the physical feedback and feeling I get and focusing where I should be visually. Accuracy and feel or physical feedback, which is not to be confused with force feedback, can only get you so far if things don't operate smoothly. If things like where or how you hold your yoke or where or how you rest your feet on the rudder pedals change variables like how much pressure is required to make an input change, everything I said before goes out the window. With Virtual Fly, it doesn't matter where you hold the yoke. You can use both hands. You can have one hand on either side. You can have a few fingers on the tippy top of a handle or a few fingers at the bottom of the handle, and the forces and pressures required to make an input change are all the same in all situations. You can rest your feet dead center on the pedals, up high, towards the middle, or to the outside, and even on the floor. And again, the forces and pressures required in either situation to make an input change are all the same. When operating the TQ6 Plus or Verneo, each lever moves smoothly. Fine-tuning propeller, mixture, or power settings is not only made possible by high-resolution components, but also because you have the physical ability to operate them smoothly. How a product operates is just as important as its quality of components. With great components and poor operation, the product would still be poor. Same is true if you have great operation but poor components in your product. With the Yoko Plus, Ruddo Plus, TQ6 Plus, and Verneo, you get superb components with predictable and magnificently smooth operation, making any or all of these products from Virtual Fly fantastic additions to your sim. Whether you are an at-home simmer or educator, these products will help you learn and or teach what controlling an aircraft is all about. From power, prop, and mixture control to roll, pitch, and yaw inputs, every aspect of flying in the sim has not only been easier with these products from Virtual Fly, but it's never felt more natural. I've never been smoother, I've never been this consistent, and I've never been more accurate in my maneuvers. Handmade using mainly metals and not plastics, with an attention to detail in even some of the smallest areas, gives you a big indication these products are built to last and are going to perform as they did from day one for many, many years. It's been nothing but rewarding and enlightening using these products from Virtual Fly. To anyone on the fence about purchasing, in the market for a serious upgrade, or just looking to get started and want to go right to the enthusiast level, you can't go wrong with a Virtual Fly setup. To the pilots or students looking to fulfill that flight bug on days the weather has you grounded, these products will at least give you that feeling and a viable means of practicing accurately. The Yoko Plus, Ruddo Plus, TQ6 Plus, and Verneo changed the way I sim in all the right areas. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, but if you didn't, go ahead and hit the dislike button. If you did and want to see more, make sure you hit like, get subscribed, and ring the bell so you don't miss another video. Your feedback and comments are always welcome in the comments section. This was Ronnie, and as always, thanks for watching, and until next time.